Okay. So you ask the question about artificial intelligence and what we can say to people who are worried or concerned or anxious about the new forms of artificial intelligence. And what I would say is this: it's not new. We've been thinking about machine intelligence for at least 70 years with the Alan Turing work on Turing tests and on the ability of computers to maybe one day surpass human intelligence. And back in the 60s, there was a program called Basically Eliza, which was written by a psychologist to mimic a conversation with a psychiatric analyst. So we've been doing this for years, but only recently we've taken a lot of steps, a lot of advances into what we now call generative artificial intelligence, which means that not only has the computer got a lot of base coding, it also has a lot of training code along the top, which allows the computer to have conversations with real people and then learn from that and build its knowledge base. I think the interesting thing about that is that as people, if I learn something, then I have to be able to teach you that something. It takes you time to learn it. When a model, AI model, generative AI model learns something, all the other AI models know instantly because they're all connected, they're networked. Or you know, if they're not networked, then they won't know, but if they have to be networked to actually know. And then every model, AI model, will actually be able to link into that same database. So if you go into Chat GPT, for instance, and you type in your name, it will use the Google facility and all the other spidering networks out there to find out everything it can about you, and it will get it wrong. But if you correct it, it will remember and get it right next time. There's your training program. So it's got several layers. So that's why it's generative. Now, that's both a threat and an opportunity. It's a threat in as much that people are worried that one day it might surpass human intelligence. The difference there, of course, which you have to consider is this: a computer has to follow rules. It cannot break rules. It has to follow its instructions, whereas we can break rules. So I think in that sense, humans will always be one step ahead of computers. So I don't think there's too much to worry about it becoming more intelligent. I think it will become more intelligent in certain things, but it won't actually surpass human intelligence, collective human intelligence, which is what Ray Kurzweil calls the singularity effect. He predicts that will happen in 10 years, and he's been predicting that for the last 30 years, by the way. So it keeps pushing back. So I don't think we've got anything to worry about in the medium future. But let's see it as an opportunity as well. Let's see it as a way of being able to reduce the time you spend on mundane and boring tasks like translation, or like writing a curriculum vitae, a CV, or like writing a report. Or in students' cases, maybe writing an essay. Now that's a problem, I think, for academia. But I think even there, I'm confident that those who are experienced in academia, like myself and like you, perhaps, if you've been around for 30 or 40 years, you will be able to use your eyes to see when someone is plagiarizing or someone is using Chat GPT or some other generative AI device to write an essay. I'll just say, one more thing, and that is that if you see it as an opportunity, then you'll be able to do things by using it that you would take a lot longer to do if you hadn't used it. Yes, there are ethical, moral, security, legal issues around using Chat GPT and other generative AI models, things that may become insecure as a result of secrets or privacy being breached. That could be a problem. It could be a problem, especially in the commercial sector. It could be a problem in terms of people's private information as well. But people like the OpenAI folk who are behind Chat GPT and other systems of a similar nature they will promise you, and they will tell you that there are lots of checks and balances in place. You can believe that or not, but I think we have to trust their judgment on this at this stage and say, yes, okay, what we put into the system is secure. They are. So there's just a bit of a very, very fast summary of what is going on with generative AI.
Exactly. We are really very much afraid about teachers and the problems that they will have, because the youngsters, they are very brave and just they will go for it. So it's not easy. But on the other hand, we've got really very nice example at our university, technical one. I asked one of architecture teacher to propose to students to use artificial intelligence for a kind of cooperation, just starting designing, and then students having several object designs, they were developed. Yes, so, and I've got very nice films also in English recorded by those students, and I think this is a good direction that we can think about. This is what I would like probably to underline. But on the other hand, I also I'm interested in just poetry, that you ask also artificial intelligence for writing. And that's what I remember, that the majority of people, they were able to guess which was done by you or which one was done by ChatGPT. Am I right?
Yes, I did an experiment, Anna, and I used ChatGPT because it's an easy, accessible system. Yeah. And I asked it to write a poem about a particular theme in a particular format. I think I asked it to write a 3-stanza rhyming couplet. So that's 12 lines, where the first and second lines rhyme and the third and fourth lines rhyme, and so on all the way down. And so it was very strict parameters that I put into ChatGPT, and it's very good at I think of following instructions. But it does occasionally get it wrong still, because it's still learning, and the training level of that coding is not perfect by any means. Never will be, I don't think. But here's the thing. When I put the two poems side by side with no name on them and asked people to guess which one was mine and which one was the computer's, I would say around about 95% guessed right.
Yes, that's yeah.
And when I asked them why they guessed right, one of them said, well, actually 3 or 4 of them said, I think there were something like about 30 or 40 people involved in this sample, maybe more actually, but certainly that those 30 or 40, at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 actually said to me in various degrees about the emotion that was in my poetry, which wasn't in the computer's poetry. And I think one of the questions we have to answer is, with the advent of generative AI, what is it that we do that is uniquely human, that cannot be easily replicated? What is it that we do that is uniquely personal and uniquely us, that a computer cannot mimic? And I think one of those is actually writing emotional poetry. I think computers can mimic it to a certain extent, but there's always going to be that little nuance there, which I think real poets and real people can actually detect. I think the same applies to academic work as well, because with the best will in the world, although we might be writing in an academic style and we might be writing in the third person, so to speak, there's still an element of your writer's voice that comes through. When I've been with a student long enough, I can tell their writing voice, and I can tell whether it's their voice or not, and whether they lapse into a plagiarized version of themselves. So I think the same will be true with anything that has been generated essay-wise by an AI model.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Because usually people, we are going to offer them several themes about artificial intelligence, and then we are trying to translate what you said, and we are going to use ChatGPT. Thank you, Steve.